What's up? So today I wanted to show you, well, I'm not quite sure how to call it, but it is a Forex trading strategy that for me personally is really dope, really superb, and it works pretty well if you know what you're doing, and the risk reward is pretty, let's call it, neat. So, well, nothing much to say other than let's go. So in front of me is the British pound and the US dollar chart. Taking a look at the 4-hour time frame. Where is this one? Now we have seen. No, I can't. Okay, I can move it. Here, kind of the first support area that we formed. Well, why can't I move this? Damn it. I don't know how to move it. I have to start over. Well, this is harder than it looks like, actually. Didn't think it would be this hard, but it doesn't even matter. Here is the first one. Here is the second one. Now here are some kind of resistance support areas. Resistance areas, sorry. Well, the obviously highest one somewhere around here. Now if you take a look, we can see, well, let's change quickly to the daily. We have been on uptrend since the pandemic of last year. We formed a really nice trend, and if we adjust it a little bit, we touched this trend a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So constantly those here were buying opportunities, where if we take the 1, 2, 3 examples, which is another strategy that we don't really need at this point, but maybe just for the purpose, doesn't really matter. Here we formed, let's say, if we make it a bigger one, this was the first retouch, here is the second one, which is actually a great buying opportunity. Here would be another great buying opportunity, since usually it really depends where you count, how you start counting, because this is 1, then this is 2, 3, 4, almost 5, 6, 7, 8. But if we say that this was the first higher high, then this was the first lower high, the first higher low, and this was the second higher high. Here is the second higher low, which means we could still see a rally from here to much bigger numbers, especially since the US dollar is getting weaker at the moment. But at the same time, as far as I know, the UK is closing or going back into lockdown, or has already, since there is the new kind of variation, the new corona virus. I don't know what it's called, it has a strange name, I think. I forgot, it doesn't really matter. But so you can see we have been in this uptrend since last year, but now we are in this kind of consolidation, since we don't know where to go. And today I want to focus a little bit on this one. So here on the 4-hour chart, if we take a look at the second line here, we can see that we have been quite often actually at this area. Here is one, here kind of 2, 3 small dips that maybe don't really count. So here is 1, 2, 3. Here are kind of consolidations alongside this support area here, and we have been consistently up and down between 1, 4, let's make it 1, 4, 1409 and 1, let's take this one maybe 1418, which is basically $0.001, which is actually quite a lot when it comes to the Forex market. Now here, if we just mark these areas here just so that I know where they are. So we can see we have rebounded here once, twice, 3 times. Usually every time, or every number 3 in the Forex market, maybe general in the stock market, is like a God-given gift, because it's one of the best entries for anything. Because once says nothing, twice says we have been here already, and now we are doing the same thing at the one time, and the third time chances are pretty high that we will do the same thing. So if we take a look at all those entries, I mean, if we can say this was 1 and 2 and 3, doesn't really matter. But if we now go maybe to the 15-minute chart on a smaller time frame, we can see here, well, perfectly the consolidation, as well as if we take a look at the EMA average. Here we have been trading above the, I think it was the 20-day EMA, kind of, and most of the time between the 20-day EMA here we kind of broke a little bit under, but we're still way above the 50-day EMA and still on a bullish trend, so chances are likely that we'll go higher from here. But if you want to trade alongside the trend line, but this is not the case, this is just some very quick and simple strategy for GBPUSD, but I want to focus on something else. So back to the 15-minute chart. Here are the circles that I made earlier, because we retested this areas here quite often. You see here, this was once. If we say this is twice somewhere, this is 3 times, doesn't really matter. But here, if we say this one is 3 times, and if we add some indicators now, let's get rid of those ones since we don't need them. Now on a smaller time frame, we can see that we, or maybe if we maybe if we change it to the 5-minute chart, so I don't know if this is the right time frame now. I've forgotten which month it was, but I think it was this one. This was the 3rd one. I really do hope so. But anyway, so if we take a look at the 5-minute chart, on the bigger time frame, we can see we retested this area here. But just because we retest, you don't want to jump into the trade straight away. I mean, you could, but the thing is we had the bigger support line here, so sometimes we dropped lower. So you could enter it at the second one, but maybe it is not the part. But if we, like here, come to the second support area, form a consolidation and then move higher, you want to wait for the push up here to see the pullback and then form a higher high, which would be 1, 2, 3, which would mean here we are kind of forming this trend pattern to the upside. But what I want to focus on now is even before all those things. So if we take a look at the RSI, we can see here that we have formed a bullish pattern on the 5-minute chart, while here forming a bearish pattern. Damn it, I need a new one. Here, which is a bullish divergence, and we can see straight away that we jumped from here to the previous pattern, which was the 0001 point. Yeah, here 1.49 was the target, which means if we look at the MACD, we can see here a cross as well between the short and the long line, which eventually led to this move. So the entry would be exactly or somewhere around here, where we are forming this divergence. We are also forming this divergence on the MACD, and we are breaking here out of this consolidation where we find support looking at the 4-hour chart. And here, if you go to a small time frame, you can see the bullish sign very clearly, which would be the entry to your take profit. Now here we even rallied to the second or almost the last resistance line. Now we came back here again. Well, here we almost came back to the support area, so we went back up to the 1.42 area, and here we came back again to the support area, and here we are looking for a bullish entry again. And we can again see here, after forming this consolidation on the lower time frames, on the 4-hour chart it was just probably a slight dip to the support area. We can see here again divergence where prices are going up while the RSI is going down, which means we are forming a divergence. And here the MACD sees the bullish crossover, so the entry would be somewhere around here with a stop loss. Well, slightly. Let's take the lowest previous point, which would be here. Our take profit was around 9. Where was the entry? Somewhere around here, let's say. Stop loss was this one here. 1.4. Actually, we could target even higher, but we just said that we will target the first resistance. Well, not the first, but the one that was retested the most often, which was this one here. So here we would have a risk reward of 5 point. Of course, it depends on your entry. Maybe you could give your stop loss a little bit more room, or take the entry a little bit higher, but it doesn't really matter. It's still 4, 3, 4, 5. That's something up to you. But anyway, you can see that in this consolidation phase on the 4-hour chart, where we retested a specific support area more often than the other ones. If we take a look at the 4-hour chart, which was this one here, the second one, we retested it much more often than, for example, the first one, the lowest one. and at the same time we retested this resistance area most often, so we would take trades in between those, and on the 5-minute chart we saw a couple of entries here and here and here and here, and you can place all day long, which is why of course you can blindly take an entry here. Say you want to make an entry here, I don't know, with a stop loss at the previous support area and then target this area here, but the thing is we could go lower than that, so maybe the entry wouldn't even be that bad, but to have a better confirmation and you maybe don't wait that long to take a win or a loss, you could take the small time frames, wait for a better entry and take the resistance area that was retested more often rather than the highest one here, because as you can see we never came to this resistance area after the last time, which was in June, so like 20 days ago, which means you could have missed here almost 2 opportunities just because you wanted to take the biggest fish, which often isn't the best idea, but well, this is a strategy that works pretty well and is pretty easy, so here you go.